Chasing perfection, especially when it comes to your health and wellness, your sleep, your nutrition, your fitness, that is such a dangerous game to play because when you chase perfection and you have a hiccup in your journey, life throws you curveballs all the time. So that's going to happen. Your journey is going to be so heavily derailed and you might not even have the desire to continue. What's up, dreamers? Welcome to Driving and Vibing. Today, I want to talk about perfection and your journey and why it is so important not to chase the perfect journey. Now, what do I mean by that? First, I want to talk about what perfection is. Perfection has, I mean, it is such a loaded question. That is, perfection is all relative. It's perceived value, basically, right? So what I think is perfect, you're not going to think perfect, but we'll talk about a routine. Let's say perfection would be setting a routine and completing that routine to a T. Okay, life throws curveballs. That might not even happen all the time. Let's talk about exercise to begin with. Okay, if you start an exercise routine and you start with 3 days a week, and you, for the first 3 weeks, you hit those 3 days, but then on week 4, you miss the last day because life threw a curveball. And you get so distraught about missing the 4th day, and you think that your progress is going to be impeded and all of this, and you're like, it's just like you're having a hard time recovering. That's going to impact negatively your future weeks, whether you want to admit it or not. You're going to think about that. And if you are thinking about it in a negative light, and which perfection not technically, I just watched this person almost crash. Welcome to Driving Vibing. Chasing perfection will drive irrational thoughts, okay? Because then you're going to think like, I just lost my train of thought again. Wow. But it will drive irrational thoughts because if you miss that 3rd day and then the next week, you're like on the brink of starting the next week and you don't know if you're like, maybe you're too tired to start the 1st day and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll just start next week. I missed the day last week anyways. Do you see how that could be problematic? If you keep doing that, it's going to continue. It's going to basically force yourself to create excuses that don't need to be there. Okay. Whereas if you change the mindset, so a lot of this is about mindset. I talk about mindset a lot. A lot of this is about mindset. But if you change the mindset, whereas like life isn't perfect, life throws curveballs. I missed 1 day. It's really not a big deal. I'm just gonna I'll start again next week. I'll hit those 3 days. And what is it like? Out of the month, I missed 1 day. So I hit 12 days. Out of the 12 days, I hit 11 days. That's great. I mean, what percentage is that? That's a great percentage. You got to think about it that way. And you're not going to lose progress by missing 1 day. You're not going to have a significant setback. Nothing really negative is going to happen unless you make it that way by thinking negative thoughts. Chasing perfection is not the route to take. It's going to be a messy journey. It always will be. Usually the journeys that get you the furthest are messy. They have hiccups they have bumps in the road. It's just like, and that's what makes the journey fun too. Learning, adapting, right? So chasing perfection, and I'm not just talking about exercise, nutrition, sleep. So if you actually let's go into nutrition. Let's say you follow a nutrition plan, you eat very well for 6 days straight, and then you go out and with friends and they are eating desserts and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna eat a dessert, but you haven't all week. It's not the end of the world. But if you're chasing that perfection mindset and that perfection of the journey, that's going to really, I mean, especially if you cave in and you're like, when you cave in and like everybody's doing it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna eat that dessert, that could cause a setback to you, right? And I know this from experience. Like with sweets, I used to think, so I'm 8 weeks sweets free as of this video, which is, I don't even know what date you're watching this, but as of this video being made and posted. And I will say in the past, if I ate sweets after 3 or 4 days or whatever of not eating any, in my mind, I'd be like, well, I already ate sweets, so I'll just eat it again and I'll start again another time. Because in my mind, it was like, I have to have a perfect record. And I know that about myself, so I'm gonna stay off of it. But in that aspect, I do chase perfection, and yeah, it did backfire for a long time. But now I'm just gonna stay off it for good. And also I do realize now, that I don't have to think that way, right? That's something I have to work on as well. So everybody, regardless of who it is, everybody's still working on things, okay? But it is important to make sure that you give yourself that leeway. You're like, life throws curveballs. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to learn and adapt, okay? If you have anything to add, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, helps out the channel. Hit that subscribe button for more content like this. And dreamers, I hope to see you in the next video. Later, dreamers.